Hey, and welcome to Zanpakuto Explained, where I explain every Zanpakuto in the Bleach series from Zabimaru to Ichimonji. And naturally, since this is the first installment of said series, I have to go over Zabimaru, because it was the first Zanpakuto ever shown, at least the first one in its release state. And as you can see in the picture above, Zabimaru's sealed state isn't it's just a normal katana with a red sheath. Um, actually, it is just completely normal. I don't think there's anything special about it. I don't even think the crossguard is very unique, but it might be. I can't really see it in that picture, but I don't think it is. So now we go to his released state, Zabimaru, which release command is War or Howl. It actually has a really simple ability, as it's the first one shown, because a lot of Zanpakuto abilities don't get more complicated till later in the series. So Zabimaru's special ability is it becomes a whip with a bunch of different segmented pieces in the sword. It's very simple. It has almost no special abilities. It has some, but not very many. It has one special ability that I can think of, and that is Higa Zeko, which after someone breaks his sword, which happens a lot because how weak it is. So after someone breaks it, he can take the broken pieces and levitate them or whatever. I don't actually remember really well what it does, because I didn't want to go rewatch that fight because I didn't know which one it is. But basically, it just levitates the pieces. I saw a GIF of it earlier, but I couldn't download it, so just gonna have to imagine what it is. I'm kind of imagining what it is either, because I don't really understand the ability. But yeah, it's a really simple Renji's Shikai is really simple. Even his original Bankai is pretty simple, and that's why I really didn't like Renji for a lot of it, because he's not a very interesting character, and he never his abilities aren't very cool either. So now we're gonna go over the pros and cons of his Shikai state. And first with pros, it gives him very good range, because the thing can stretch a long amount. It's really the only pro, is that it gives him range. And now for the cons, there's a few. One, it's really easy to break. And he can't reconstruct it. Obviously he can fix it eventually, if it's not in a fight, he can't reconstruct it. And so it can break really easily, and it doesn't really give him any innate advantages besides range, which can be used against him, because he can't really. He actually can attack close range, because he can choose when to make it extend or not. But yeah, it's just not a very good Shikai in general. It really sucks. It's kind of fitting for Renji, because he's not really that powerful. He never really was. He was really just introduced to show how strong Ichigo was and how strong Byakuya is. So, yeah, I think Renji also has the first Bankai we've ever seen in the series. I think. I don't think a Bankai appeared before us. Yeah, so the pros of his Shikai is that he has range, and the cons that can break easily. Because how simple it is, it's not gonna have very many pros or cons, because you can explain his ability within a sentence. It becomes a sword that can extend like a whip. It's not a complicated ability. And it's not a cool, not complicated ability. It's just a not complicated ability. It's just shit. Yeah, so now we're actually going to go on to his Bankai, He-Ho Zabimaru. His first Bankai, his incomplete Bankai or whatever. So, He-Ho Zabimaru is just as disappointing as his Shikai, because you know how his Shikai is a sword whip, his Bankai is just a snake whip. It makes a sword into a giant bone snake. Just a whip, It's pretty underwhelming, just like everything about it. Something else that's really important to note is Bankais cannot be repaired. So so say when Ichigo's Bankai got broken in the 1,000-Year Blood War, he couldn't repair it. He had to get an entirely new Bankai forged, or a new sword forged. And just like with Renji's Shikai, his Bankai is also incredibly weak. It can be destroyed really easily. That is sort of broken really easily. But it also kind of gets fixed with, he can actually repair it in Bankai's state. But it's still not very good, even if he can repair it. But yeah, so he has some special techniques like Hikotsu Taiho, which is he like hits them with a and like they go up in the air, and then he makes the snake go after them and shoot out a laser like a Keto blast or whatever. And it actually is pretty useful, but it's just about as useful as anything Renji does. And it's just not very good. And like, I am shitting a lot on Renji, but I actually do really like him. He's really cool. Especially in the Thousand Year Blood War after he gets his new Bankai, which I'm gonna go over in a second. But yeah, there's some pros and cons of Renji's Bankai. There's no pros and there's no cons really. It's just like an okay middle of the road kind of Bankai. Like, it's not physically very strong, but it's also not like weak. Because even if it breaks, you can still repair it pretty easily. I think it broke in the Thousand Year Blood War, actually. I think it completely got shattered. But so did Ichigo, so it's not really that big of, like, shitty Bankai. But it kind of makes sense. Like, it's stronger than his normal Zanpakuto, but not by that much. But that's why he has another Bankai. And I'm going to go over that right now. It's called, Zabimaru, which is the real name of his Bankai since his, sword spirit lied to him. See, now, like, I actually really like Zabimaru. It's a really cool looking Bankai. Has a cool name and has a cool design. It's really, like, the way he fights with it is really cool. The only thing I don't like about it is he only used it once. Like, I wish he used it in the fight with Yuha. Or if he did use it, he didn't use it for very long in the fight with Yuha. So yeah, he only fought Masked Day Masculine, which was a really cool fight, because if it wasn't Masked Day Masculine, he would have just killed them. Because Masked Day Masculine is like basically invincible. But yeah, so like in this Bankai, he fights with a combination of his sword and the giant gorilla glove you see. It's like an arm on the back of his shoulder, just like a giant gorilla arm, which is really cool. Like, I don't know how this is the Bankai of Renji. It literally doesn't resemble Zabimaru at all. Like, his original Bankai made sense for Renji, but this Bankai just makes no sense. Besides that, his Zanpakuto spirit is a snake and a monkey. That's the only connection between Zabimaru and Zabimaru. And I don't see why Zabimaru is so very different from this, because they literally have no connection to each other. Besides, you can actually see the little bone things from Hiho Zabimaru on Renji's waist. But it's just a cool Bankai in every way. Like, it's just so unique, it's so interesting. It's incredibly strong. Like, I think Renji's a captain now in the novels. So, that just makes sense. With a Bankai like that and how strong he is after post-time skip or post-new Bankai. So, like, it's just so cool. Like, look at the sword he has. Like, it's not even a katana, it's just like a normal sword. It's super cool. I'm gonna go over Zabimaru's actual abilities. And first, I'm just gonna go with the biggest ability, probably, is that he has immense strength because the gorilla arm, so he can, like, throw people, like, at incredible distances. You can probably just, like, crush their heads, because it's literally just a super-powered gorilla arm that's separate from his own arm, so it's pretty useful. He can also, like, extend it not super far, but a little bit, so that's pretty useful. So he can reach way further than he can. So he needs to, like, reach something for some reason, he can use the gorilla arm to do that. And another ability is that the the sword he's holding can actually change forms. We've only seen it change forms once, but it can look different for whatever reason. I don't know if that was just like an oversight from Kubo, but I don't think it was. I think it has the ability to change what the sword looks like for whatever reason. And I'm going to put that picture on screen right now. So as you can see on the picture on screen, that is in fact a different sword than the picture earlier. It's the same sword, but it looks different. It looks like normal Zabimaru. And that's when he's charging up his special ability, that kind of begins his special ability. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe he can change it into different stuff. Maybe he can make it into something that's not a sword. Maybe that's the only form change a sword can go through. We only saw it in one fight, so we really do not know Sue Zabimaru's true capabilities or what it can do outside of. I think it was like 2 chapters we saw this Bankai, so we don't really know what it can do other than throw stuff with its gorilla arms, punch stuff with its gorilla arms, and change what its sword looks like. It can also make like giant claws, like snake claws, like a snake mouth. Um, that technique is called Zaga Teppo, and what he does is he stabs someone with the sword, and a giant snake mouth appears above them, which I do not know what the snake mouth does. It's not very clear, but I'm assuming it does something, or maybe it's just a stab with some extra flair. But that's like his ultimate technique. And unlike his normal Bankai, his original Bankai, Hihozaru Zabimaru, I cannot think of any pros and cons for this Bankai because we don't know enough about it. It might have like a big weakness, but I don't know. And I guess the pro would be it's strong and it can change what the sword looks like. But that's not really much of a pro. I don't know. It's not like every Bankai makes some person stronger, at least most of them. So I guess if I had to pick one pro, it would be it makes Renji stronger, gives him more physical strength because of the gorilla arm. But I really wish we saw this Bankai more. It's one of my favorites. It looks so cool. Like it's just so cool. And yeah, that's kind of it for Zabimaru. There's not much else to talk about. So, and like I know for the entire video I've been saying how basic Renji is, but the thing about Zanpakuto is they're kind of supposed to reflect their user a little bit. It only makes sense because Renji is such like a simple character. It's kind of the whole point. Is he just like a brute that is Zanpakuto would be so simple. Even his new Bankai is very simple. It's just a gorilla arm and a sword. And even his old Bankai was also really simple. It's just a giant snake on a hilt. So yeah, it does make sense for Renji's character. And I actually do really like his new Bankai. So tell me what you think in the comment section. And if you liked this video, then consider subscribing because I am going to do hopefully every Zanpakuto. Even though there's a lot of Zanpakutos in the series. And I do mean every Zanpakuto. So even the like hollows or the what are they called? Arankas, Zanpakutos, which there's a ton of them. I think there are probably even more Arankas than there are Soul Reapers, because there's a bunch of background ones. But yeah, so I'm gonna hopefully try to do all of them. And if you like this video, either subscribe or just watch. Just wait for another one. I actually should have another one up today. I'm considering doing one on Ichigo next because I think he's the next Zanpakuto that appeared. Because I think he got his Zanpakuto in the same fight with Enji. But Ichigo's gonna be very long. But yeah, thanks for watching if you got this far. I'm very surprised anyone could get this far.